What's up, forehead? How we doing today? So I figured today, listening to how I'm recovering from a motorcycle accident is just boring. So we're just gonna not. Instead, what we're gonna talk about is starting on a 600 and why. This is something I'm pretty confident about. By all means, correct me down below, but I'm just a guy on the internet. My opinion doesn't matter. So, starting on a 600. The reasons you would start on a 600 are pretty much as follows. 250s and 300s suck. It's more cost efficient in the long run, and thousands you shouldn't even be thinking about. I don't even want 1,000, so do with that information what you want. So let's talk about why 250s and 300s are bad. So first off, you're gonna grow out of them, and it's something that happens to everybody. Like, I don't know anybody that still just happily rides a 250 or a 300 just because there's better out there. They're not the greatest of bikes. The insurance costs are going to be better, which is definitely something you need to take into consideration when you're getting your first bike. All the costs involved with it. Buying a 250 off the lot really is not the best option. You're going to buy that new bike, and then you're going to grow out of it, and you're going to want something bigger in, a year or two. You may be saying, well, hey, they're enough for what you need in the street. Well, yeah, they are enough for what you would want in the street. They're not nearly as punchy as they could be, and you're going to get bored. So 250s and 300s, you're just going to outgrow, and their benefit is good insurance costs. So the next step up would be 400, the 400s and just regular sport bikes. I'm going to talk a lot in aspect to Kawasaki. I'm a little bit of a fanboy, so call me a monster drinking Kyle if you want. I like Kawasaki. I've only owned Kawasaki, so I'm going to talk in aspect of what Kawasaki has to offer. This is going to be between the regular sport bikes and super sports, which is the ZX series. The next step up from like a 200 or 250 would be, for example, the Ninja 400, which actually, ironically, is what my last bike was equivalent to, what my first bike was equivalent to. Sure enough, even after having the step up from the 250, I still was at a dealership looking at new. I think it was 2 years or a year after I had got it, because I wanted something better or newer. I would say that's what you should shoot for if you don't feel comfortable with a 600, but a 600 is definitely something you can be able to grow into as long as you're responsible. But we'll get into that. So the 400 class, what does that have to offer? Well, the 400 class, it definitely has a smoother torque curve. You don't get all of your power once you're already speeding, which is great. And that kind of goes with the super sports, even the 600s. Getting all your power in first gear at 10,000 RPMs, it's already 45. If you're in a 45 zone and you want power, well, you're speeding. So maybe a 400 is more up your alley. They're also a little more comfortable. So if you don't want the extreme ergonomics of a racing bike, you can get a 400 and the ergonomics are much more relaxed. Like I said, this is definitely what I would recommend second if you don't choose a 600. Granted, I crashed mine, so maybe I'm not the best person to ask. Just a guy on YouTube with an opinion that doesn't matter. So one thing we're immediately going to take off the table, though, is the 1000s. The 1000s are something you shouldn't even be considering if you're a beginner, and I feel like that's a very common consensus in the motorcycling community. You don't need it, and if you think you can handle it, you probably can't. Me personally, I don't have any experience on a 1000. I've never ridden one, and I really don't have a desire to. I mean, if I was offered to, ride someone's leader bike, I would. I'd be scared as hell. That's for sure. Too much, way too much. The 600 is really just a perfect bike. You get a nice balance between power and not dying. I guess we'll talk about insurance costs and what is actually going to be the best bang for the buck, and which, surprise, surprise, if you thought I was going to say the 600, the insurance is going to be nice on a 250, 300, 400, but when it comes to the leader bikes, your insurance skyrockets. We also want to take into consideration the cost of the motorcycle. This is where you're gonna have to think twice, because you can go out and you can get the 250, but then when you grow out of it in a year or two, you're going to end up spending more money in the long run. So cost effectiveness, you don't want to buy something too small and then have to purchase up, because then your initial investment is just through the roof. If you're going for power and you want to get 1000, don't do it. You can get a 600, you'll spend less money and you'll be safer, which is pretty important. If you can be responsible and you can actually understand what your bike can do, what it's capable of, and you kind of always have that little bit of a fear in your head, you can definitely pull off being on a 600, because that's what keeps you alive, is that little bit of fear and that little bit of, responsibility in the fact that don't go doing dumb shit and dumb shit won't happen. So I'll leave you guys with the conclusion of do what makes you feel comfortable. If you don't feel comfortable on a 600, then don't get a 600. My opinion doesn't matter when it comes to what you should start on. So if you think a 400 is more up your alley, by all means, do that. If you think a 600 is right for you and everything I've said has made some sort of an impact on the way you're thinking, that's amazing, and I say you'll be fine on a 600. As far as being fine on a 600, I'm actually walking in my sneakers again. I'm walking like a normal person in my sneakers, which is amazing to say. It does hurt when I'm on my feet for anything more than an hour, but I'm walking in sneakers. I'm not in a boot. I'm not in a flipper. While I was down and not editing this video, getting ready for my sneakers, I made this cool little animation. Check this out. So if you're here, might as well just click that subscribe button, hit the bell. This way you know when I upload. It helps me, it helps you, and it's free. And you can always just change your mind later. So why not just click it? It's right there. So also, don't forget, leave a like if you enjoy what I bring. I want to see 5 likes. Let's see if we could do that. Can we do that? Anyway, future me, I hope you do a better job than me, and I'll see you guys on the next one. See ya.